is precisely fighting, these sorts of these kind of battles where you're always firefighting, from the last cut that's been made, and they just keep making more cuts. And I'm not saying that we need to divert ourselves from fighting those cuts because it's a survival issue at the moment, but it would be also good if we could bear in mind what kind of world we actually want to live in afterwards, and the fact that we do have enough productivity now. We do have the resources for, enough for everybody in this world. It's not the resources, the weird thing is that money, which comes out of our head, is treated as this scarce thing, whereas the resources are treated as unlimited. And I think that's where the connection is between the environment and the benefits, all right? And I would like, I hope that, people will bear this in mind. We'll be speaking about it on Thursday over at the Institute of Education. This is a bit of a plug as well. And really think about the kinds of things, the kinds of positive changes that we really want to make. Thank you.
That's brilliant. Thank you. Occupy Democracy last night did come to consensus that we would support a living wage and a basic citizens' income as well, so that is starting to get traction. So time for a couple more points.
Oh, okay, sure. I wanted to respond to the discussion of narrative and the idea of we need a coherent idea that's going to resonate with everyone. And I think when you draw together all the problems that we've discussed, I think it's about assigning meaning to our lives, assigning a narrative to our lives that means something. In reality, the nature of capitalism today is that it takes away our meaning. There's so much short-termism in society. We've got zero-hour contracts, we've got temporary work, and all of those things, and the erosion of public services takes away our ability to assign ourselves to a civic duty, an ability to make our lives mean more than just the generation of money and capital. So I'm curious of what your idea of what that narrative should be, but I think personally it's about meaning in our society and how we can contribute as individuals to a coherent collective idea.
Thank you. Okay.
Thank you very much. Yes, hi. I'm a bit worried why no one said the socialism word here today. I think we do have a narrative, one that we have a long tradition of in this country, and a very useful narrative it is. Lots of ways of analysing the system that we have. We've seen lots of confused faces in the room, and I'm not saying that socialism has the answer to absolutely everything, but it does seem to me that we have a sort of a certain kind of cowardice in this space to say we on the left are socialists and we're fighting for socialism. We should be debating on ways to organise as socialists and have a socialist analysis of our problems. We have a very strong narrative and we're being cowardly about it in this room, and I'm a bit upset about it, and I'd love a brilliant old Marxist to get up and say something that made some sense. So thank you very much.
Okay. Right. Back. Okay, Joel. Okay, if we could just be Joel and then Steve, that's fine, yeah.
Joel Benjamin from Move Your Money. Izabella, I enjoyed your talk on informational asymmetry. Great to hear mention of Chomsky's manufacturing consent, and this idea of sort of media filtering. I guess, yeah, a great example being the sort of BBC, where we've got, people like Rona Fairhead of HSBC kind of parachuted in to head up the kind of BBC Trust, and a public interest organisation headed by big corporates who frame and dictate the sort of news we receive. We also have a system where we have legal and regulatory capture, and I guess, yeah, one example of that would be the way the sort of libel scandal's been sort of played out in the media for the last sort of 2-3 years. There's been no talk in this country of who the victims of that sort of scandal might be and what available means of legal recourse there might be. You have a situation where if you're a campaigner trying to get those sort of stories into the media, you get a wall of silence from newspaper editors who are scared of being sued by the banks. So my question to you would be, as someone that works in that media system, how would you suggest we get around those impasses to make sure we get this sort of information into the mainstream media?
Thanks, John.
Is that working okay? Yes, it is. I just want to take up the point the speaker at the end, sorry, I don't know his name, about the crisis of democracy that's come up. I think that's a very, very important idea. Essentially, we've got a widening gap between what people actually need and what Parliament appears to deliver. Now, two aspects of that, two things we've seen just recently. The Scottish referendum is showing how people in Scotland are completely alienated from the Westminster system of government. And secondly, of course, we've seen the rise of UKIP, which is in a way a kind of distorted view that people are fed up with the way the system works. And they don't think Parliament is working and don't think Parliament is delivering. But the problem, I think, with what you said, and this is something Owen Jones came back to, Parliament doesn't run the country. The actual phrase is the crown in Parliament. We call it parliamentary sovereignty. That sounds like Parliament's in charge of stuff. Actually, it's the crown in Parliament. So the people who are running this country do so in the name of the crown. And they concentrate the power in their hands. And when you're in Parliament Square, it's not MPs